It's a weekday night in Shenzhen. The good citizens of the PRC have come to this park to get fitter, happier, and more productive. All under the watchful, approving gaze of Deng Xiaoping, the revered granddaddy of China's free market reforms. The scene tells you much of what you need to know about Shenzhen. It's China for sure, but it's also something different. It's a city of imports. Young, hardworking, smart, and often freer-thinking people. Plucked from all around the country. They've come here to toil during the day, improve themselves at night, and to get ahead. It's ambition that is the lifeblood of Shenzhen. It's factories, it's markets, it's startups, it's surging tech empires. And it's stuff like this, an orgiastic explosion of LEDs that are the greener and, of course, more futuristic version of fireworks.
Can your city do that?
No, your city sure as shit can't. But here's the story of why Shenzhen can, and why everyone, especially the folks in Silicon Valley, should be aware and probably a little frightened of what's coming for them. You get in the metal tube. Zoom up 115 floors at a ridiculous speed to the top of the Ping An skyscraper. Then you find a window and marvel at the sublime bigness of Shenzhen. "40 years ago, all this was farmland and dirt roads. A minor hub for rural goods trading just across the border from Hong Kong. Now, it's the hot, steamy, frenetic home to 13 million people that just about everyone on Earth calls the Silicon Valley of China. Everything here moves at what's known as Shenzhen speed. It's a phrase that describes an unyielding pace of change, and I came here to feel it firsthand. To do that, it's an Instagram pose with the cityscape, a quick scan for government spy drones, and then a car ride to see where just about everything we use gets made.
You hear about factories in China all the time. Today, I'm lucky enough to actually go visit one that's located about an hour outside of the center of the city. They're gonna let us see what life is like inside one of these factories.
There are grim factories. There are decent factories. And then there's this place, run by Grandson Electronic. It's safe to say this is not what I expected. The plush surroundings are intended to make customers from all parts of the world feel comfortable. But inside, it's more like you'd expect. Dozens of workers moving at Shenzhen speed, making fancy headphones for an Australian company called Neura.
How did you guys end up in Shenzhen? I guess that's the thing to do these days.
Yeah. Shenzhen's known as a place that people come to make things.
Yep.
You don't come here to mess around. You come here to get things done. They have the supply chain here, a supplier that can make any component of the headphones you need. And of course, there's the labor cost, which is not as cheap as it used to be, but still reasonable. The production line's been running at basically maximum capacity since we started. And yeah, we can do 500 a day normally.
What are the little noises we hear in the background?
You're hearing them make sure they assembled the speaker correctly.
So that's like a test noise?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But what is life like for the people who make these wonderful toys? To get a taste of the factory experience, I joined the mad dash for lunch. Cafeteria food.
Nice to meet you. How are you? Good? How's the food?
Okay.
It's good. How long have you worked here?
2 years.
Okay.
It's tough to say anything terribly new about the life of the Chinese factory worker. Most of these people have come from China's hinterlands, often leaving their families behind in their rural hometowns. They'll spend about 2 years on average in Shenzhen, busting their butts working overtime to save up as much money as they can. Is it a step up from hardscrabble subsistence farming? Probably. Are there still safety nets? Yep. But I can tell you one major lifestyle advantage the Chinese have over us Guilos.
When we first started working here, after lunch, we couldn't really get anyone's attention. Eventually, we cottoned on. Everyone's just sleeping at that time of day. That said, we embraced it very quickly.
What is your preferred sleeping apparatus?
I'm pretty Spartan, so either on the desk or under the desk with a bit of bubble wrap for a pillow. Trust me, it's good.
Luke is just one of many entrepreneurs who come to get their gear made in Shenzhen. There's a flourishing scene here for hardware startups that want to move fast and make things. Many of them can be found here at a startup incubator called Hacks. The idea here is simple. Help startups build a prototype, then connect them with factories that can start cranking out their products by the thousands. Take Jamie here, an affable chap who's part of a British startup called Carve.
We make a digital ski coach. So effectively, it's like a insert you put into your ski boot, and it teaches you how to ski better. So you get like real-time feedback through headphones, like that was a bad turn, that was a bad turn, that was a better turn.
You have one here, don't you?
Yeah, let me show you. So yeah, these are motion sensors.
Okay,
so we have full
that's spot on.
motion sensing.
Crazy.
Like many startups here, Carve began life as a humble Kickstarter campaign. Now, just a couple of years later, they're pumping out 5,000 units of their product every month.
Do you think you could have brought something like this to life in the UK if you'd had been accepted by an incubator there?
Yeah,
or
I mean,
now that you've been here, you've seen a new world, I guess?
I think it kind of depends a little bit on how much of a shoestring you're on. Here in Shenzhen, it's so much cheaper. In many different categories, it's cheaper. Like in the product development phase, to get different materials 3D printed or machined, you get it here for kind of half the cost and twice as fast.
Yep.
And sometimes 7 times as fast.
To get a feel for that high-speed energy, I hop across the street with Jamie to the famed Washong Bay markets.
Yeah, so this is the biggest electronics market in the world, probably.
They're an important resource for the young entrepreneurs here, and a fantastic place to get your senses overloaded.
Such a hive of activity in here. It's crazy.
Oh man, it's great. So this is the energy, right? You just walk through the market, it's like bang.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay. This is where factories have come to display their wares to potential buyers, who is me and a lot of the other people here. Kind of a storefront for factories.
Okay. And if I make like smartphones or TVs or anything like that, I kind of come here to see the latest and greatest stuff.
Exactly. You want to find a manufacturer, you come to Huaqiangbei.
It's also a great place to find that missing part for your prototype, which is why you run into other crews from hacks roaming the aisles.
Buying some screws? Buying some springs. Have you tried, there's a spring woman out the front as well if you want one. Just on the left as you go out.
I used to have a guy just there, but he doesn't want to sell them anymore.
The fact that I can get a component in like an hour is like absolutely phenomenal. That is Shenzhen speed.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Here's how Shenzhen works. You put up a damn things are going well here skyscraper. And then you put up another one right next to it, because you can. And then to really drive the point home, you do all of this next to a metallurgic marvel of a stadium. We're talking about a boom town the likes of which the world has never seen before. And things are just getting started. Because inside the big stadium is the real action. It's a scene of smarts, creativity, and hustle being collectively mainlined. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't smell great. It might even be inhumane. But all of this is aimed at making China the dominant technology force of the future. And Silicon Valley should be very, very afraid. Welcome, friends, to Robo Masters. This is a robotics competition that draws in hundreds of engineering students from around the world. As you'll soon see, I don't really understand the intricacies of the game. But the gist is that you build some robots, choosing from 6 different types, like the engineer, which heals other bots, or the hero, which does extra damage. Then you put them in a stadium and have them fire plastic bullets at each other to score points. It's fun for the whole family, if your family is a bunch of insanely competitive gearheads.
They're shooting. Be careful, they're shooting.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. It's got the gun on me.
For contestants, this can be an intense experience.
What's your life been like for the last week?
The average sleeping time is like 3 or 4 hours.
How do you do it every day? I keep doing that for weeks. It's crazy.
Drinking Red Bull.
Drinking Red Bull.
Once these kids arrive for the competition, they basically don't leave the stadium for 2 weeks. And fighting robot battle after robot battle takes its toll.
When was the last time you had something to eat?
Yesterday.
So you haven't eaten today?
No.
But it's all worth it, because the reward, if you're lucky, is a job at DJI, the sponsors of the competition and the world's top maker of drones. If you're a talented young roboticist, coming here to Shenzhen to work at DJI is the dream. So the stakes are high.
How are you doing? Are you guys winning?
I hope so. Yeah.
There are plenty of Chinese tech companies that produce nothing but cheap knockoffs. DJI is not one of them. The company was started in 2006 by a college student named Frank Wang. He made components for drone hobbyists and then decided to go ahead and make a full-on drone empire.
I think the core value of DJI is we're always trying to innovate something new. For example, when we create a drone, there are actually no flying camera. We created this concept of flying camera.
That's basically true. DJI's first runaway hit, the Phantom, brought camera drones to the masses for the first time in 2012. Since then, they've made bigger drones, smaller drones, teeny tiny drones, and some specialty ones, like this crop dusting drone. All its products have sold well. Most of its major competitors have flown away in tears. The company rakes in billions of dollars a year and has thousands of employees all over the world. And now, they want to pay it forward.
Our founder, after DJI become a little bit successful.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, he started to think that it's time to host his own robotics competition. We want engineers to be recognized as superstars. And this competition, we hope it become very popular and the people and being inspired by these engineers.
It's not just the competition itself. There's also a Robo Masters documentary, a Robo Masters reality show, and even a Robo Masters anime. With this media blitz, DJI hopes to foster a new generation of innovative engineers who can then join the drone empire and make it even stronger. Or maybe start the next DJI. In other words, what we have here is less of a friendly little robot fest and more of a plan for world domination. Looks like it's up to me to sabotage this thing.
Does that make me seem scarier?
A little bit.
I've managed to infiltrate this team from Zhejiang University. This is almost too easy. We're going up against the University of Washington.
1, 2, 3, go!
Chinese teams usually destroy American ones, but my incompetence should even up the odds.
You guys don't shoot me, okay?
Okay. We'll do our best.
I'm number one. I'm number one.
Box him in.
I'm number 4.
Please welcome Robo Masters.
Oh yeah. Ah, it's amazing.
Prepare your teams.
Let the Robo slaughter begin.
And what am I gonna try to do? Where am I going after the game starts?
Okay, I need to go out now.
Don't leave me! Are we red or blue? Are we winning? How come nobody's talking? Did we win?
Yes.
We won. I knew it. I couldn't really tell what was happening. Was it close?
No.
No? So we kicked your ass.
Yeah, you guys smashed us.
Okay.
You did a good job.
Thank you. It was an honor. It was an honor to play with you guys. That was fun. Thank you.
I'm sorry, America. I tried. A few days later, I returned to the stadium to witness the final round of competition. It's South China University of Technology versus China's Northeastern University. The winners will take home tens of thousands of dollars, the respect of their fellow nerds, and most likely a job offer from DJI or another up-and-coming company. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the future drone makers of the PRC. disputing that Shenzhen has become one of the most important places in the world of tech. Nowhere else has quite as potent a combination of tech know-how, cheap manufacturing costs, and sheer speed. But it goes further than that. Living in Shenzhen is in many ways like living in the future, and not necessarily a utopian future. More like the other kind. Consider Zowie. Zowie operates a factory much like any other in Shenzhen. They make cheap smartphones and other electronics. Like other top manufacturers, they've built a complex where workers can live right beside the factory line, work around the clock for a couple of years, and hopefully buy a better life for their families back home. The factories here are clean, and the work is precise. But things are changing quickly, in a way that does not favor the common man and woman.
All the rest of these lines are staffed by about 80 people, but right here there's new machines coming online that are going to build a smartphone end-to-end completely by robots. The end goal of something like this is to get the quality of the products higher, to bring costs down from less labor, and ultimately to keep China as the manufacturing hub of the world and fend off low-price competition from places like Southeast Asia.
The factory of the future looks like this. It's a closed-off loop where robots pass components among each other and finished products pop out at the end. All those workers have been replaced by one lonely final inspector. It's a strong sign that the future of Shenzhen is less for these guys and more for these guys.
Zowie actually builds these automation machines itself. Behind me are some of China's best and brightest engineers, hard at work building the machines you see out on the floor today, and the ones that are coming tomorrow that are going to automate the entire factory line.
Nowhere will face more turmoil than Shenzhen as the robots rise and send millions of workers to the unemployment line. But it's not just the working class that's facing a dark future. There are dystopian innovations that seem to touch every facet of life here. I ran into one example of this while attempting to rehydrate.
No? Can I use this? No? Okay. Doesn't work? No. Okay.
After some investigation, I discover what's going on here, and it has to do with these things. QR codes. You know the drill. You scan the code, and something pops up on your phone, like a promotion or discount. America laughed these things off years ago, but here, they run the entire economy. Cash and credit cards are history. Instead, you scan QR codes to pay for everything. Restaurants, groceries, even buskers. On the surface, this is all good. It's the easy, convenient mobile payment system of the future. But there's also a dark side. The Chinese government can peer into the two dominant payment systems, Alipay and WeChat, as it sees fit. It's already started tracking behavior as part of a plan to rank citizens and measure how good and obedient they are. The tech revolution may have brought prosperity to Shenzhen, but it's also brought more and more insidious intrusions into people's lives. To dig deeper into life under the Chinese deep state, I've assembled a team of extraordinary foreigners who work at tech startups in Shenzhen. Hopefully a few beers will encourage them to open up about their thought crimes.
Living in a very tightly regulated communist country. Does that bother you, or you don't care?
Like the presumption, at least that I got before I came from Australia, you're sort of like moving into sort of like a militarized state kind of thing. Like things are gonna be really intense. But like you take a beer, you just like walk down the road, hang out in the park, fine.
Yeah.
Do that back in my hometown, Australia, like straight to the cop house.
Yeah.
Like,
But then play spike ball on the grass, and then all of a sudden, the cops come and stop
Well,
you.
you jaywalked and you had facial recognition.
The craziest thing, I actually got this. Yeah, so I was jaywalking in Nanshan, and all of a sudden I got a fine to my WeChat.
Was it instant?
It was about 20 seconds after, I guess. And I had money in my balance, it just went straight out. And this is just the most incredible thing.
You didn't even,
it just came straight out.
Didn't even authorize
And
it.
that was incredible.
That's crazy.
It's true. Try to jaywalk in certain parts of Shenzhen, and the government's facial recognition will spot you. There's even a board of shame showing the faces of recent offenders.
I'm surprised and very, very worried that they have your face in the facial recognition.
They have everyone's though. I mean, when you get across the border, they take that picture. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's all in the system. They know where you are.
That's scary.
It gets even scarier because Big Brother is watching what you do online too. Most of the websites we know and love are blocked in China, replaced with Chinese equivalents that the government can monitor, a sort of mirror universe internet. I asked my friend Diane, a Shenzhen native, to help break this down. Appropriately enough, she took me to this restaurant staffed entirely by robots.
That's some gnarly looking chicken. Is that chicken?
Robot food.
I wanted you to help me out with one thing. So if I sort of call out a US tech company, can you tell me the Chinese equivalent? Because, you can't get Instagram or anything here, so let's do a few. So Google would be Baidu,
right.
And Amazon.
It's like both JD.com and also Taobao.
Okay,
Yeah.
and YouTube?
Youku, 爱奇艺.
Facebook?
Facebook, we have WeChat.
WeChat,
Yeah.
Yeah, do you feel like you're in a different universe? All the online stuff is such a big part of all our lives, and it seems like China has created its own world.
Yeah, that's definitely like that. But like I said, for like Instagram, I was surprised to see even Instagram got banned from China, but all the young people, they're there.
Still go.
Yeah.
It turns out it is possible to access the freedom-loving internet here via what's called a VPN, an alternate internet connection that bypasses the government's blocks.
And you don't get in trouble if they see that you're on the VPN all the time?
For personal use, I don't think that's like a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah. A feature will be interesting for how the different world like collaborating together. Yeah, and then definitely the young generation, they're not like just, oh, I'm satisfied, just kind of stay inside.
Okay.
Yeah, they're more curious.
I came to Shenzhen hoping to find some kind of ground truth, a clear picture of what China's growing tech prowess will mean for the rest of us. Honestly, though, I'm as confused as ever. This city is full of energy, desire, and creativity. But exactly how those traits are channeled in the years ahead remains an open question. My hope is that the best parts of our human nature get a chance to thrive, and that 1984 can wait a few more decades to arrive. And on that note, I leave you with this dashboard dog, because it's obviously good and pure and very happy.
Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more Hello World, click on the link to subscribe.